So first of all, I think I want to focus on maybe four things: a little bit about me, a little bit about our business. I think some beliefs that kind of drive me and inspire me, and maybe you, and then maybe a couple of takeaways. I'm a New Yorker, born and bred. I have had the benefit and privilege of working and living here, but also in both London and in Israel. And both of those experiences have definitely informed me professionally and personally. I've also really had the privilege to travel around the world a lot on both business and pleasure, and have been fortunately exposed to lots of technologies and different ways of thinking about business and doing so. The last thing I did before starting what is now Gotham Ventures was I ran the equity private placement business at Lehman Brothers, and it was right after Netscape had gone public, and it had really inspired me. And my current founding partner, Ross Goldstein, had been at Morgan Stanley and went on. He was part of the Netscape IPO team and said, "What am I doing here at Morgan Stanley?" So he went to a startup. I ran the equity private placement business. It's kind of like that Reese's peanut butter cup commercial. You got chocolate in my peanut butter, you got peanut butter in my chocolate. We met and realized that we both believed that there was really a lack of West Coast style venture capital on the East Coast. If you didn't go to Angels or Boston or the West Coast, you weren't getting money. So there was a cohort of funds that kind of began in 2000 here in New York. Most of them are gone. Some are still around. We're one of them. And we couldn't be more excited today about investing here in the New York area. I'm not going to sell New York to you. We're all here. We all know why New York is special. I have four boys. We're very big into sports. They are also, interestingly, very into technology. My 11-year-old and my 15-year-old are into coding, which I think is fascinating to me, and I think it's a great thing to know about our future generations. I have another son who is autistic, and I'm quite interested in the biology and genetics and neuroscience behind that. So if any of you have any thoughts or insight into that, I'd love to hear about it. And he's probably the smartest of all of my kids, by the way. And I love hockey, and I love sports analogies. And one of the things that I believe is that if you know anything about skating, in life you have to use your edges. If you use your edges right, you can go faster, and it actually gives you a great feeling. But there's a fine line between using your edges and losing your edges. And when you lose your edges, you fall, but you got to get back up. You have to get back up. And that takes me to what it is to be an entrepreneur. I fundamentally believe that attackers have an advantage over incumbents. And none of us would be in this room, I hope, if we didn't all believe that. Nobody expected the U.S., I'm going to go back to hockey now. Nobody expected the U.S. Olympic team in 1980 to beat the Soviets and ultimately win the gold medal. They didn't know they weren't supposed to win. And that's what we are as entrepreneurs and venture capitalists. We just don't believe that we're not supposed to be able to take down the incumbents, right? And I believe that's really an important keystone philosophy of everything that we do. Let me talk a little bit about the business. We have invested now out of two funds, raising our third. We manage about $200 million. We are raising specifically a seed-focused fund for our next fund. We are very excited about that space. We're fortunate to have had companies that have exited to the likes of Microsoft and Google and AT&T and Facebook and Cisco and CA and Adobe and others. So we think we know how to get entrepreneurs from the 0-yard line into the other end zone. And that's what I like to do. I mean, I really like to focus on taking the friction out of what entrepreneurs do and have to go through to build businesses. And if there's nothing else that VCs should be about, it should be about making the life of their CEO that much easier. There's enough on the plate of a CEO to get done every day. The job of the people who've invested or in the cap table should be to help expedite decision-making, to help brainstorm, to recruit, to help finance, but to really take, as I said, philosophically, friction out of that day-to-day CEO and management team experience. And if we do that right, then we really have a great alignment of interest. So in my remaining 5 seconds, the last thing I will say to you is, because I do have more to say, but I don't have time, there's a great New Yorker cartoon that and I forget the names of the cavemen in the cartoon, but there's a wheel rolling downhill. So somebody's clearly already invented the wheel. And the tagline is, for my next invention, I'll call it brakes. And that's what we do. tomorrow is very exciting because somebody's going to invent a wheel and somebody's going to have to invent brakes. And it just goes on and on. And so we couldn't be more excited about tomorrow. We couldn't be more excited about New York. And we're here to invest and help. Thank you.